Good Friday, after a mock trial where he was clearly going to be found guilty, Jesus was found guilty. The authorities tried to release Jesus, but the crowds wouldn't let them, shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." The crowds that were so excited for him on Sunday are now ready to kill him. Jesus is crucified. Matthew 27:45. At noon, darkness fell across the whole land until 3 o'clock. Then at 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Some of the bystanders misunderstood and thought he was calling for the prophet Elijah. One of them ran and filled a sponge with sour wine, holding it up to him on a reed stick so he could drink. But the rest said, "Wait, let's see whether Elijah comes to save him." Then Jesus shouted out again, and he released his spirit. At that moment, the curtain in the sanctuary in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks split apart, and tombs opened. The bodies of many godly men and women who had died were raised from the dead. They left the cemetery after Jesus' resurrection, went into the holy city of Jerusalem, and appeared to many people. The Roman officer and the other soldiers at the crucifixion were terrified by the earthquake and all that had happened, and they said, "This man truly was the Son of God." So what happens here is not just a Messiah, a military figure being killed. It's not the defeat of God's people. What happens here is that God, taking on all of the sin of the world, has now died. He has become sin for us. By his wounds, we are healed. But you know that it worked. You know that something big happened, because when he died, everything, the whole earth reacted. The temple, the curtain in the temple that separated God's holy space from all of the rest of us was torn from the top to the bottom. Now, this was not curtains like you'd see in a house covering windows. This is a huge veil that was many stories high, and it tore from the top all the way down to the bottom. Earthquakes, all of these other things that we hear about and see. God died on the cross, and he died on Good Friday, swallowing up all of our sin, all of our debt. By his wounds, we are healed.